Today I have the pleasure of introducing Cecilia Muchalov, or as we all know her, Seal, Miss Seal. Um, Miss Seal has been with us for 13 years, and I expect she'll be here many more years because she does such a wonderful job. Seal, could you tell us about your day as the children's librarian? What types of scheduled programs are there for youngsters?
Thank you, Kathy. I would love to do that. There are many programs for the children here in town, and we start them from the very, very young. One program that I'd like to let you know about, our past director, was the one who initiated this one. I was a little skeptical at first, but actually I have to say I love doing this program. It's called our Laptot program. Now, a Laptot program is exactly what it sounds like. We start with children who are young enough to sit on your lap and not even speak or sing the songs. This is a program that we hold 3 days out of the month. This is a Friday program, the first 3 Fridays of the month, 9:30 to 10, and also 10:30 to 11. And I must say, this is the program that is filled to the max. I can have anywhere from 20 to 30 children along with their parents attending this program. The next age level, and I'm sorry, it was a Laptot program, was newborn to 2.5. The next program that we have here at the library is called our Rhyme Time program. That program is for children who are anywhere between 2.5 to 3.5. They also attend this program with a parent or caregiver, and it's a 45-minute program that meets on 2 days of the week, Wednesday at 11:30 to 12:15, or Thursday from 11:30 to 12:15. I like to have 2 separate programs because this way we can accommodate more children. So we do anywhere from 10 to 15 children in each of those programs. Then we move on to our extended story hour program. This program meets 4 days out of the week, Monday through Thursday, but we accommodate 50 children in this program. 2 days, we have the same 25 children, that would be on a Monday and Wednesday, and 2 days we have the other 25 children on a Tuesday and Thursday. Again, these children are 3 years old, but they come without their parent or caregiver. Their parent or caregiver drops them off, and then they stay with us from 9:30 to 11 o'clock. So it's an hour and a half of time away from their parent and caregiver, but most of the time, these children have not attended a different program. So this is their very first taste of an environment that would be like a school to them. There are many other programs here at the library. That's just the start of my day. We also have programs for the after-school children. Many of them include language programs. We do have Chinese, we have a Learn Arabic, we have a Hindi program, and we have a Spanish program here at the library. Those programs are for school-age children, but they are after-school programs. So we run those anywhere from 3:30 to 5 o'clock. We've also added a cooking program last year, and we're going to continue it this year. That's a fun one. It's a hands-on program, but we don't use any type of heating implements for that program. It's more like a mixing and tasting and finding out about a lot of ingredients. We have chess here at the library. We have yoga here at the library. I could go on forever and ever. The best thing to do would be to check our calendar of events, and you would find all of the programming that we have here.
Seal, that's wonderful, but it sounds like you haven't got a moment to spare. And I know in your position as head of the department, you're doing library skills as well, such as purchasing books, etc. Could you fill us in a little bit on some of that?
Oh, absolutely. That is true. It's not just the children's programs that I'm a part of, although I must say that is my favorite part of the day. But I also do ordering of books for children. I do the easy readers and I do the juvenile collection. I also do the library, the duties that a regular librarian would do here at the library. I meet with the patrons if there's any help that they need in selecting books, and it's mostly the children. If they need information that they're looking for, I'm more than willing to do anything that I can to assist them in those needs.
Okay, you've mentioned that you are purchasing these books, and there are other types of special programming that we do here at the library. I know I've come in and seen snakes and animals and little parties going on for little girls, but for the American Girl, and then there's programming for boys. What types of special programs do you have on a regular basis, and how do you fund them?
Well, I'll start with saying that the library has a special fund for programming. We are very, very fortunate in that aspect. But we also have some of our organizations that are more than willing and so helpful in funding the children's programs. Friends of the Library is one. They help us out more than I could imagine. And the Kiwanis, they back us for everything. The Kiwanis is really very helpful to us. The programs that we do have here, gosh, I could go on forever. We have, you did mention, Kathy, the one that the program that the children love the best would be our animal programs. We had snakes here, and we had different animals. We do a lot of music programs. The children love to sing. We have musicians come in. We have, not only do they teach the children how to play certain instruments, we have programs where the entertainers will sing and the children will get up and dance and have just a wonderful time doing it.
That's great, and that's wonderful that you bring all of this culture to our children as well. We're talking about quite a few children in the building now, and especially the young children. What type of security precautions are in place for the children to make sure that they're safe and sound when their parents leave them here in your care?
Well, I'd like to go back to the programs that I had mentioned earlier. The program, which is called our Extended Story Hour program, parents must come in and register, as they do for the other programs. But with that program, we give the parents a list of regulations of the program, but we also make them very aware of if there is heaven forbid, there's a disaster. We always make them aware of what the library will do in that event, because the safety of the children is really our utmost importance here at the library. In the event of a disaster, of course, if it's for our young ones, we have a place where we will bring the children. It is the old library location. That's the one that is in the center of town. If we need to move them, we do that. But before each program, we also have the list of the parents' names with their phone numbers where we can immediately reach them. We have emails, and also we have, in the case of an emergency where we might not reach those parents, we do have alternates. So we have a list of people that we can contact. Heaven forbid there's an emergency after hours where my children in the morning are gone. The library does have a supply of water in the basement. We also have some dry snacks that we could provide for the children. It would definitely be a safe place where we could keep our children in the event something happens.
That's great. I know when we designed this building, we wanted to keep the children's bathrooms and the adult restrooms separate. So we were even thinking about it in those days, and I know that you find that more of a convenience with the young children.
Absolutely.
But I think that's great that we still practice those safety precautions. What about a child who's left in your care and then someone else comes to pick up that child? What happens in that case?
Well, again, back to that registration and those applications that I was speaking about. A child will only be released to the person who's listed on the application. I tell the parents, in the event of an emergency, if you cannot reach us and tell us that you are unable to pick up your child, which happens, we must have the name and the address of other people who you allow to come pick up your child. But not only the name and the address, if we have not seen this person before, they must present us with a picture ID, such as a driver's license, so we can verify that they are the person who should be bringing this child home. Just because a name is on the application doesn't mean that that's the person who's coming in the door. They may know the family, but we don't know the family, so we really need to be secure. There's nothing more important than the safety of the children, and we really keep that in mind. During our program, as I mentioned earlier, we have 25 children who could be in the library with us at any given time. We're constantly counting those heads. We need to know at all times how many are in the day, because we don't have 25 on each day, but we also make the staff aware of that. The staff at the front desk, they need to know too, so that in the case of an emergency and we need some help, if we're leaving the building or we need extra hands, they need to know how many children need to be accounted for. That is so important.
It really is. We had a fireman tell us one time that if you give us the wrong number, you may have killed a child, you may have killed a fireman. That does not happen here with all this double security that you have. So we're very, very grateful that that's in place. Talking about security, what type of precautions do you have on the computers for the children?
Well, I hope the parents are happy with this. Our children and young adult computers are filtered. They've always been filtered. We don't want the children to see or get into any sites that they are not allowed to get into at home. That's your responsibility at home to change that. But here at the library, we do have strict filters on the computer. Now, sometimes that works to the children's disadvantage. Sometimes they get assignments from school where they need to research different things, but the filters are a little bit too strong. Fortunately enough, staff members are able to go into the computers and to open up those different sites by changing the codes, and they will be able to assist the children in finding the information that they need. And then, of course, after they're done, the filter is put back onto the computer. Our adult computers, of course, are non-filtered, so that's fine. Once a child reaches the age of 16, they're allowed to use the adult computers here. But under 16, they use the children's side of the library, the children's computers. And the good thing is, their library cards have that access. So we don't allow children to take their card and log on to an adult computer because they won't be able to. Their cards are blocked from the adult computers, just as adults are not allowed to come onto the children's computers. Their cards are blocked. We have very good visibility of the children's department, but just in case an adult decides to come around who doesn't have a child in the children's department, they're not going to get onto the computer. They have to go back onto the adult side, just as the children have to stay on their side of the library.
Well, let's move on to a happier topic. But safety was wonderful, and I'm so happy that it's still functioning the way it should be. Saturday is a big day around here. Saturday is the 17th Friends of the Library mini fair and book sale. Now, what's all the hustle and bustle going on your side of the library today? And what's your role in the mini fair?
The mini fair is a very, very big event here at the library. It's a big fundraiser for the library, of course, but it is the biggest fun day that the library can offer any of the children in the neighborhood. The children's department really goes that extra mile to try to make it known to the children that the library is fun inside and outside. On that day, we invite all of the children to come to the library and just have a grand time. We have sand art that the children always come and enjoy. We have face painting that the children's department takes care of. We have those big balloon tents that the children jump in. We have rides for the children. We have games. They can have prizes after some of the games. They can win some prizes. But something that we started recently, which seems to be a big hit, we have a children's pie eating contest. So children of all ages can sign up for the pie eating contest, and about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we clean up the arts and crafts, and we set down some pies, and we watch them go to town, and it really, really is an exciting event. I have to say, in all the years we had the pie eating contest, we had some adults who were a little excited about the pie eating contest too, and they said to us, how about us? So we had to clear the area after the kids were done, and the adults got down to some pie eating. So it was a great event.
That's good. You brought out the child in that adult again.
Absolutely.
So that's a wonderful
Absolutely.
thing. And of course it brings so many people into the library that may not have been here before, so it brings recognition as well.
Definitely.
But the children's department works hard. I mean, everybody works hard for the mini fair, but I know how hard you have to work and still keep your smile on your face at 7 o'clock in
It's
the
an
morning when
exhausting
you
day.
arrive. Ms. Seal, what do you think about the computers? Now, are the children reading as much as they did before? Are they relying on the computers? And what do you do to encourage them to continue reading books?
I have to say, I do think the children are still reading as much. The circulation for the children's department is really sky high. It's always been. How we encourage them? Well, we always have displays of new books, and even children love to be the first one to hold and to read that new book on the shelf. I know I do. I know when new books come out, I like to be the first one to crack that cover, but the kids do too. How we encourage them? Well, we're always looking for the topics that they love. There's always new Disney characters. There are always new sports figures. We want to be the library that is on top of everything that the kids love to read. What's fortunate about our library is we have a variety of ages in our staff. So not only do we have moms and dads, we have grandmas and we have grandpas. So we always tap into them and say, you know, what's hot? What do kids like to read? And we also research. We go on the computer and we see what's popular, and we try to be on top of those books, and we try to get them out on the shelf. We always have displays up, and if we know we have a reader in our midst, which we usually always do, we encourage them by suggesting different titles to them, something that they may not have read before, but something that's very similar to what we see them taking home. And it usually works. It usually works.
We mentioned that summer reading program, and something that happens every year that is worth mentioning is that we have a local business in town that supports you as well, and that's Natoli's Pizzeria. Can you tell us about that a little bit?
I would love to tell you about that. Our summer reading program is a 6-week program. where we encourage the children to come in and borrow books. When they do that, they are allowed to put their name in for a raffle, which we hold on a weekly basis. Depending on, it's not the number of books that they read, but it's just that they're coming in and they are actually using the library. Our circulation soars in the summer because the kids know that there's a little added extra to reading a book. It's not just enjoying the book, but they get something out of it. At the end of that 6-week period for helping our circulation go up, we have a pizza party for the children, which is a wonderful day. It's so exciting, and now that we have our beautiful reading garden, which I didn't get a chance to mention, we have our pizza party out in the reading garden. And where do we get all that delicious pizza from? Natoli's. Steve Natoli has been sponsoring our pizza party since I've started here at the library. And he has been donating all those delicious pizzas. All I need to do is to call Steve up 2 days before the event and tell him how many children we think we are going to have at this pizza party. I think in past years we've had 130 kids, and that's really wonderful. It just goes to show you how excited the kids are. Not so much for the pizzas, they're not, but they do enjoy it. But they come here and they read over the summer because they have time to enjoy their books.
That's great. And I know that we'll see Steve Natoli here at the mini fair as well.
Yes.
On Saturday. And he tucks a little extra in there, I think, for the staff, because he knows us a little bit.
He's such a great guy, he really is.
Seal, I think that you have given anybody who is interested in the children's department at the library, or anyone who is looking at this, a real flavor for what goes into preparing the day in a library. Some may think, oh, we just walk in the door and hand out a book, or just sit and have playtime with the children. But there's a lot of thought, a lot of responsibility. You're responsible for the education after school of our children. So you're keeping the books relevant and you're keeping your activities relevant. And I can't say what a wonderful, wonderful job that you do. So thank you for sharing with us. Is there anything you'd like to say before we end this segment of your history of the library? Anything that you'd like to leave us with?
Well, as I say at our end of the year program, reading is so very important. And it's not something that stops at a certain age. It starts from the moment you can read until your last breath. We're always reading. And the library has such a wealth of information and such a variety of books that you could come in every week, almost every day, and get a new book if you're allowed to, if you can read that much in your lifetime. It's a wonderful place. We will always encourage children to read because it's so important at their young years to love reading. Not just something that's necessary, but just to love it. And that's what we try to do. We try to get them to have that feeling of love for books, love for reading, and then wherever they go, they always have a friend with them, and that could be their book. So I think that's the most important thought.
Thank you again, Sia.
Thank you, Kathy.